I'm Julie.
And I'm Melanie.
And we're Moms on a Mission,
empowered to bring abundance to our families.
Braid Girls! And we are super excited. We are in Melanie's studio today, which is a total change up. She has such pretty pink walls as a change from my Arctic blue ones.
I love your blue.
Oh, thank you. I love it too, but sometimes it's just nice to be in something that doesn't make you turn the heater up a little bit. You know?
The big yellow sunburst. I think it takes
the
care of
sun
that.
on the side.
Yeah. It's just your personality.
Well, I think it's so much fun to have your own space, even though it may not be enormous. It's just a little space that you can show your creative personality. And I
it's kind of weird
so
to
pretty.
plaster yourself on the wall.
It is, right? But it's totally what it feels like. Yeah. So today we are going to answer just one question. We had some really, really amazing questions. So don't feel frustrated if you don't hear us answer your question today. We're just limited on time. And this was the one where it just felt like the right place to start.
Yeah.
So the most important thing that I learned early on was that I'm stubborn and my husband is stubborn, and if we approach each other from a head-on position, if I try to approach him and say, hey honey, homesteading would be this great thing, then he's going to resist me. He has no background in it. He has no farming experience. Why would this be a good thing? It just sounds like a lot of manure to him. And so what ended up working the best was to really know him and understand what makes him tick, to look at the things that he likes to research himself, to the people that he likes to listen to himself. And for my own husband, that was Glenn Beck. And so I started to look, pay attention to what Glenn was saying, and he was always talking about preservation and self-reliance and being a prepper. And so when it seemed natural to bring it up, I would start to talk about, we sure waste a lot of food scraps. If we had chickens,
Yeah.
I think that it would kind of increase our self-reliance and make it cheaper for us to buy groceries in a week because we could just feed them with our food scraps. And that was kind of the approach that I took over time, was to recognize that he has his own mind, he has his own dreams, his own thoughts. And the trick is that sometimes that can feel a little bit manipulative, like you're trying to come in and trick your husband. And I think you want to avoid that kind of thing, but at the same time, if you really feel strongly that homesteading and being a prepper is the way that your family needs to go, I think prayer can help a lot with that. If the Lord is telling you that you need to be a prepper and be self-reliant, then He's going to help you to soften your husband's heart and also to put the words in your mouth so that you can say them in a way that doesn't sound nagging and doesn't sound preachy. And more than anything, in my own personal situation, I had to pray that the Lord would soften my heart and open my eyes to the fact that maybe I wasn't right. Maybe the way that I was approaching it was wrong, and maybe the way that my husband would approach it would be a better way. And that's what ended up happening is that when he insisted that it had to be inexpensive, it made me think harder about, okay, well, if it has to be inexpensive, then what can I do to cut down on expenses so that I'm meeting him in the middle rather than insisting that we do it this other way. And it's been a real blessing in our home that I was willing to listen to him and to make our homestead pay for itself rather than it being just another drain on his paycheck every week.
And I think it's really important to note that you really need to know your spouse and what makes them tick, because my husband is not very motivated by money. So he just loves to spend it. That's what he loves.
Right. Me too.
So usually I'm the one that okay, well, you can save this amount of money. And so for him, it was more, how is this going to make my life feel more comfortable? How is it going to make me happy? How are we going to be more fulfilled? How is this going to, bring harmony to our family? So for me, it was more stuff like, I started canning. Yeah. And so I canned peaches in the summer, and I was able to give him peach cobbler in the winter. And so that was something where I fed his sensibilities. And he's since come into something where, you know, homesteading is really important to him now. And it's something where it appeals to his sense of freedom and, you know, his sense of providing for his family. But that's not where it started.
Right.
So know your spouse, know what motivates them, and help them see how homesteading can help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think so?
I think so. And along with that, I think recognizing that your strengths and weaknesses are a good thing on a homestead.
Right.
If you don't have that balance, whatever that balance is for you guys, when you get to your homestead won't be a loving place if you didn't come to it from a loving place. The most important thing in your homestead is your marriage, and never forget that. It's not, well, my priority is a homestead and I'm willing to sacrifice my marriage to get there.
Yeah.
Because
what do you have when you get there?
What do you have when you get there? Yeah.
Yeah, so don't drag them along with you. Find ways that you can do it a little step at a time. So if you're good at growing plants, then grow some herbs.
Yeah.
Start there. And grow some lettuces. And just start doing things a little bit at a time. And as you are proficient in that, then you take it another step further. And you say, well, that was really fun. Maybe I'll put some carrots in the ground next year or something like that. And really just so that it's always benefiting.
And
right?
it fits in your life.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is such an important thing with homesteading, is throw out all of the ideals and pictures and fantasies that you have in your head, because every homestead is going to be individual according to your interests and your dietary needs and your comfort level. And like, I have a really squeamish husband, so we don't do a lot of butchering around here. And I'm hoping that as I raise the boys in that, they can take on some of that. But who knows how squeamish they're going to end up being.
Right.
And so instead of looking at, okay, we need to do everything perfect, and my wife needs to be in the kitchen and doing the canning and the this and that.
Listen to this part. This is the most important part that she said yet.
Yeah, just that you just have to throw it all out.
Yeah.
And you have to let it be who you are and an expression of your family. Otherwise, it's just going to be another chore.
It is.
But if it's an expression of love for your husband or your wife, and it's something that you love to do, then it's going to be something that can bless you guys.
That is the most important thing you can take from this.
Yeah.
If it's choose your own adventure.
Yeah, it really is. Well, because nobody can really do it all.
No.
It's not possible.
The best way to pull kids into a homestead is to let them raise a rabbit or a baby lamb.
Or whatever they're like, oh, I've always wanted a...
Yeah.
Like my boy, it's with turkeys.
Yeah.
He has such a thing for turkeys.
Well, and it doesn't mean that you won't then have the reminders as a parent and as a spouse that certain things need to be done. Sometimes there does have to be some management in there. But
they're doing something that's an expression of who they are.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. But it's so empowering, like you said, to have it in your own pantry, to be able to make it, and then to look at him and say, this is what my goal is for our family. I want you to be happy too. I recognize that you're pouring your heart and your soul into your job, and I don't want you to have to do that for the next 20 years. I want you to be able to search for the things that you love, and it doesn't have to be homesteading, but let the homestead support your other dreams and your other goals.
Yep.
And when you start to look at it as that, as a doorway, as an avenue to living your dreams, without having to have the commute to make the big bucks, and instead to be able to do it surrounded by your family, what kind of feeling of fulfillment and empowerment?
So empowering.
It's the meaning of I really am a free individual, and I have the power to change my life. And I sound like an infomercial right now.
But it's so true.
It is.
And that's what inspires us.
Yeah.
And that's what moves us to do all of this.
Yeah.
So just a couple tips and tricks on how to get your spouse on board. One thing that would be really fun would be to go to the farmer's market, go buy fresh produce. If that's not something that you're already doing, it can open a door to give you exposure to the farmers, and they're always so passionate about what they're doing. So go and expose your family to that. and so they can get kind of a taste for it.
Yeah.
And buy things that you guys really love. Don't go and buy the okra if you don't like okra.
Yeah.
Go buy the things that you already love.
No squash.
Yeah. And then, you know, talk to the rancher who raised the grass-fed beef, and he'll tell you all about his, you know, management practices, and you get an idea of what all is involved. And then go and tour an organic farm, because if you do that, then you get to really see what it's all about. And it, you know, there's a certain amount of the allure and the fantasy that you see there, but there really is a certain amount of that in this life. You know,
it's not a
lifestyle.
pretend thing.
No.
Sometimes it does happen, and the sunlight does come in through the window and catch your milk bucket on the table, and you just hear the angels sing.
Yep.
There are those moments.
Yep.
Just like there is in any life, when a baby is born, it's special. That doesn't mean sometimes that 5-year-old isn't just somebody you want to stick in the corner and leave for 5 years.
Yeah.
But you still love the child, and you still can love the lifestyle.
Yes, exactly.
Even in the unbeautiful moments.
So go and take some of that in and feel inspired, and then take things a step at a time. Start with what you already love, and pretty soon I think that you'll find your version of it, and that can be in the city, right?
I think it's easier in the city.
Yeah.
You can get scraps from restaurants. You have a tinier space, and I mean, there's so many videos out there that teach you how to do really amazing things in really tiny spaces. All that it really depends on is how motivated are you?
Yeah.
How much do you love it? And
then you haven't gone and purchased a farm and find out you don't love it.
Hate it. That you hate it. We started in a backyard that was 1/10 of an acre.
Yeah.
And most of the time I wish I was still there, because I was able to do the gardening and the livestock and the raising of the children and the orchard, because I did it on such a small scale. I could do all of it and still have time left over to go to the movies on the weekend with my husband or go bike riding with my kids.
Yeah. So start where you're at. It's really doable.
It is. And we have super fun doing this, so make sure to keep asking questions. And make sure to share this like on Pinterest and Tumblr and what other platforms are there?
Facebook, Instagram.
Share it, because we'd really like people to be able to join in and ask a lot of questions. And it's just fun to rub shoulders with everybody and have friends out there that are likewise trying to improve the world around them and to make a happier life for their families.
Yeah. And what did we miss? Put it in the comments. How have you motivated your spouses?
Yeah. I love that. And if you don't see our questions that you've already put up coming up, it's because we're just getting into this and we're fighting with our cameras and we're fighting with each other. You just don't see it on camera. And we're fighting with our lighting. And so we're trying to keep it short and sweet while we get used to doing it in different rooms with different cameras. Yeah. But we're going to get really good at this really fast, so spread the word.
Yep. I like my bouncy ball, except I get all excited and I start bouncing. I'm like, oh, this is really... Oh, and I didn't have it ready.
Right, and then we forget that we're on camera. Is it actually going?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will have a good bloopers reel. And my we were on such a roll too.
Yeah.
Is that my child?
Oh, it's mine. To empower our... And then I forgot what I was doing.
Head-on position. It always ended up...
Start over, because this... I start doing this when I get nervous.
I don't... how am I going to say this?
No, I didn't breathe yet.
Okay, don't breathe.